Maha Yahya is the director of the Carnegie Middle East Center. She joins us now from Beirut as the US appeals to Iran to approach this negotiated option with sort of clarity at this point. So, you know, the last 24 hours has revealed what feels like, you know, an ongoing operation that is getting increasingly ferocious. Maha, just reflect on what we've seen over the past 24 hours, and we continue to see and get warned of ongoing operations as you and I speak. And then let's talk about what a negotiated option might look like and whether Israel has any support for that, whether there is any evidence that Israel would be in support of that. Let's start just with your reflections, though, of what we have seen over these past 24 hours from your perspective there in Beirut.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Look, it's just been terrifying to watch. We're looking at two regional powers going at each other in a horrific manner. There's nothing anyone can do here in the region. We're kind of sitting back and watching this unfold. Israel basically chose to have this war with Iran, and the consequences will be for everyone to bear. The death toll is rising in both countries, and the damage, I mean, we're all watching the damage. The concern here today is that this is escalating very quickly, and it can quickly get out of hand. These are not measured strikes. We're starting to see targeting of civilian areas. Already it was starting on day one, but this is becoming more expansive. We're looking at damage to critical infrastructure, so on and so forth. And it can escalate. Iran is already saying that we have other options, and they do have other options. Now, each option comes with its own consequences, including the targeting of American bases in the Gulf, which I don't think is an option they want to choose. They do not want to give the United States an excuse to get into this conflict, in part because the nuclear facility at Fudro needs US bombs. Israel cannot take out the nuclear capacities on its own in the way it's talking about. They would like to have the United States involved in this conflict. We won't talk about the dangers of also radiation should this continue. There are already indications that there is some radiation happening around the Natanz facility. So the escalation can happen very quickly. Other options that the Iranian regime, and let's not forget for the regime, the humiliation of the extent of Israeli intelligence penetration, the taking out of the top commanders, etc. It feels like it's fighting for its survival now in many ways for this particular regime. It's not just a face-saving issue, but it's also fighting for its own survival. So it will go all out.
And it is a degraded regime, of course, isn't it? It's a degraded regime over the past 9 months since the decapitation of Hezbollah, where you are, of course, with the Beeper attacks. And what we've seen in the early hours of this operation and the release of the Mossad intelligence video sort of reminds us of the depth, it seems, of Israeli intelligence in degrading Iran's capacity both inside the country and around the region. So this is, as you say, a weakened Iran. Its proxies are very much weakened. So its capacity to sort of rain terror around the region much reduced, although, of course, we see the use of, it seems, new ballistic missiles today wreaking damage, deadly damage on Israel. I want you to speak. You are really well sourced around this region, around where you are, around the Arab Gulf region, where I am. I'm seeing a lot of diplomatic activity over the past 24 hours around this region. The Qataris speaking to the Saudis speaking to others. Egypt involved, Qatari speaking to Donald Trump, for example. Just get our viewers a perspective of how the regional players might influence what happens next, Maha.
Look, no one in the region wants to see this escalate. I mean, literally no one, because at the end of the day, it's the people in this region who will pay the price. And we have been paying the price over the past few decades. We've all seen what Israel has done over the past year and a half. So we've seen Iran's rogue activities in the region over the past decades. So and again, it's the people in the region who are paying the price. So while Gulf countries may not mind seeing their former archenemy power degraded, and I want to say here that it's the defense strategy of Iran that has been degraded over the past year and a half. The regime itself and its control over, its control over the political, military, and economic system within the country has not necessarily been degraded by the fighting. It has been degraded by the economic sanctions, etc. So there are different mechanisms at play here. For countries in the region, I think there already is a lot of, as you mentioned, diplomatic activity to try and contain this, to try and use whatever leverage they have before this gets completely out of hand. As I said, Iran is reluctant to use some of the tools that it has on its hand, but if pushed further into a corner, it may use them.
Yeah.
The same, it's already now sending signals that may block the Straits of Hormuz, which will have obviously an impact on oil, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very delicate balancing act, if you like. And the United States needs to step in with a very firm hand right now to say, stop it. Enough is enough. Work with Saudi Arabia, with the UAE, with Qatar to try and contain this very quickly before, things get much worse, a lot more worse.
Yeah. It gets further out of hand. Yeah, in your perspective, particularly as well-sourced as you are around this region, is really, really important. I'm here at our Middle East Broadcasting headquarters. Maha, thank you, in Abu Dhabi.